What's going on, guys? It's Brandon back here with another BFR. They were supposed to be 2 days ago against Calgary. However, Calgary had an outbreak, and half their team's about out. So their games are being postponed. So what should have been Game 28, now Game 29, which is now Game 28, versus the Washington Capitals at home, who the Hawks beat in Washington in a shootout during their first meeting. And they repeat their performance, winning in overtime this time, 5-4. They move to 11-15-2 as they continue the win-loss trend. They get outshot 46-28 by Washington. They get out hit 29-20, but they do better in faceoffs, doing 34-20. On the power play, they go 3 for 6, and Washington goes 1 for 3. Fleury saves 42 out of 46. Samsonov, whichever, saves 23 out of 28. Game was played on December 15th at 7 p.m. Capitals, before the game, Troy Murray was back doing radio broadcasts, so congratulations to him for being back in the booth. For those who don't know, he had been, he's the radio broadcaster for the Chicago Blackhawks along with John Weidman. He's been battling cancer, and it's good to see him back in the booth now, so congrats to him. They had the ceremony for Fleury, who was given a custom-made mask with Pittsburgh on top, with the number 500 here. Pittsburgh on top, Vegas on the either left or right side, and the Hawks on either the left or right side. It was a very cool mask presented by Lankinen. Tons of this montages throughout his career throughout the game. So that was a very cool thing. Brodeur and Waugh were in some of them, a bunch of players from Pittsburgh, Vegas, Chicago. And the Capitals were also congratulating him. Some came over and shook his hand and stuff. All the players wore 500 jerseys with the number 500 on the back during warm-ups, so that was cool. Reese Johnson's out injured. He has a broken clavicle, so he won't be playing for a while. So Brent Connolly was called up from Rockford, and he had a decent game. And then Caleb Jones was in, no Gustafson. And Entwistle was back from injury, and Hardman is out, and Borgstrom is still not playing. Kuznetsov and Wilson were out. Oshie and Backstrom are back from injury. And a lot of news, basically, going into this game. Start off the first period, there was a good save by Fleury. At 15:54, there's a Washington penalty to Ovechkin for hooking, which would be killed, which was a horrible call. Ovechkin was like, what the heck? Yeah, that described it perfectly. That was not a hook. Horrible call by the officials. Then Connolly chance just missed. DeBrincat missed a one-timer. Lots of clears, Washington icings, and missed chances throughout the early part of the game. Offside against Chicago went uncalled. Slavin and Entwistle almost connect, I should say. Sprong was very fast on the ice. At 7:09, Washington penalty to Sprong for holding, which would be killed. And then there was a save. Samsonov saves a Kane chance. And then Eller's shorthanded breakaway would be saved. Fleury, great save on Sprong. Ovechkin hit the post. And Washington was having better chances than Chicago, but Chicago was having much more possession time overall. They just weren't getting the shots on net. Oshie then just missed. And then McCabe made a great diving play. And we go to the second period. 17:39, there was a Chicago penalty to Taves for hooking. And then on a one-timer at 16:24 on the power play, it's a Washington power play goal from Alex Ovechkin, who ties Dave Andreychuk for the most power play goals in NHL history at 274. And so it was from Oshie, and Backstrom, his 21st of the year, makes it 1-0. This was a wild game. A lot of penalties, a lot of goals. We'll get to those. There was a hooking against Trevor Van Riemsdyk that went uncalled. DeBrincat and Kane chance didn't connect. Ovechkin playing excellent. Great save on Strome by Samsonov. Ovechkin hit the post. Then Carlson hit the post. Schultz takes Taves down. Clear cross check, no penalty. Kane slashed on the hands in the offensive zone, no penalty. But crowd was booing very much so. Fleury made a great save on Ovechkin, and then at 7:55, it's a Washington penalty to Faravari. It's a hard name to say, for tripping, and DeBrincat misses the net. But then at 6:12, it's a Washington penalty. It's a Dow for tripping, which makes it a 5-on-3 for 17 seconds for Chicago. And at 6:05, 7 seconds into the 5-on-3, it's a Chicago power play goal from Alex DeBrincat, his 15th of the year. And they still had a power play after it, since that was scored on the 5-on-3, so they basically had a brand new fresh one. It was from Kane Kubalik to make it 1-1, and that was Kane's 700th assist, so making him the third Blackhawk all-time behind Makita and Savard to get to that milestone. And then at 5:47, it's another power play goal for Chicago. On the second power play, it's Philip Kurashev, his first of the year, from Caleb Jones and Doc to make it 2-1. And then another few seconds, about 16 seconds later, it's at 5:31. It's another Chicago goal, not in the power play this time, from Mackenzie Entwistle, his third of the year, from Hagel and Tays to make it 3-1. They score 3 goals in 34 seconds, which was absolutely incredible. And that was probably some of the fastest amount of goals I had seen in my time watching hockey. Then Carpenter had a great hit. Strome nearly scored. There were 6 players in the Hawks' net. Fleury was able to cover it up. DeHaan made a good hit, and they call it tripping. It was a clean hit. Guy didn't even fall over, and then it's 3:10, a Chicago penalty DeHaan for tripping, which might be one of the worst calls I think I might have ever seen in hockey. It wasn't a trip, firstly. If anything, it was a closest thing it can get to is maybe a boarding, but he was 6 feet from the board, so plenty of room. And he didn't fall over, so how was it tripping? I don't know. And then at 41.3, about 30 seconds after that penalty is killed off, it's a Washington goal from Sprong. It's one that Fleury would want to have back from Eller to make it 3-2. It was a bad goal to give up. But we go to the third, as Washington is just utterly dominating the shot totals, but Hawks are dominating possession, which is the weird thing. So Washington's getting the one and done, while the Hawks are holding the puck, trying to pass it and make plays, which both have their faults, but both have their successes, as it's clearly seen here. And then start the period off. It's at 19:10. It's a Chicago penalty to Entwistle for tripping, which would be killed. But on that penalty, there was a shorthanded Tays and Doc 2-on-1, which would be broken up. Kubalik Entwistle 2-on-1. Great. It was a phenomenal save by Samsonov. Incredible save. Then at 15:01, a Washington penalty for Eller for slashing, which would be killed. Hagelin good hit on DeBrincat. Nearly 2-on-1 for Chicago. McMichael was stopped by Fleury. Then at 8:03, it's a Washington goal from Lars Eller, his 5th of the year. Eller had a very good game. Probably the best player in Washington tonight. And then his 5th of the year from Shiri and Oshie to make it 3-3. Then Fleury was collided into, was fine, and that's the goal that just Fleury Fleury didn't have the greatest game. Yes, he saved 42 out of 46, but 3 of those goals should not have gone in the net. The Ovechkin won the first one, unstoppable. The other 3, you can't let those in. Carpenter and Connolly, chance was stopped. Seth Jones nearly puts one in. Eller saves a Strome goal. Seth Jones, great defensive play. Capital trying to stop Tays when flying into the boards. And then at 6:18, it's a Washington penalty to Oshie for tripping, which I can see why Oshie got the call, but Tays sold it a lot. I think it should have been an embellishment on Tays, to be completely honest. Both teams could have had about Washington, if all their penalties combined, probably could have had about 10. Chicago could have had at least 5. So officials were, I don't know whether to say extra lenient or non-extra lenient here, because lots of power plays and penalties were called, but there's so many that went uncalled as well. There was great passing. There was great passing here. Jones to Kane to Strome to Hagel, and at 5 minutes exactly, it's a Chicago power play goal on that Oshie penalty. It's from Alex DeBrincat, his 2nd of the game, 16th of the year from Hagel and Strome. So Hagel's got 2 assists on the night. Strome is continuing, even though Strome is not always on the score sheet. He's making great defensive plays. He's starting to win face-offs more, and he should be getting the lineup time that he deserves, because I think Strome has been playing great when he's been in the lineup these last few games, and I think he's just when there's people injured, especially he's great at stepping in for them. Like, he was playing on the first line with DeBrincat and Kane, so great chemistry on that line, so phenomenal. Carpenter chance saved. At 140, Samsonov was pulled. And then Taves was 15 for 18 in faceoffs at this point. McKay made a great hit. 39-second timeout for Washington. And then at 3 seconds left, just like the the Islander game, it's a Washington goal from Connor Sheary, his 6th of the year, from Ovechkin and Carlson to make it 4-4. And that's when I was like, yeah, they're losing this game. And then it was actually checked for a while. Like, the officials went and checked it because Toronto wanted it checked, and it was for offside, and it was a good goal. So we would go to overtime. Fleury made a good play to advance the puck, and that last goal I just marked down. I put an arrow because I was running out of space on my paper. It was a bad goal. The Fleury, that's 3 out of 4 you should not let in, but he saves 42 out of 46, so you can't complain. Then at 3:39, it's a Chicago goal in overtime. It's a Chicago goal for Caleb Jones, his first as a Blackhawk, first of the year from Doc, and Hawks win 5-4 at overtime. As there was a great defensive play by Kane that started it, and it went from there. So Hawks win. Maybe they'll win tomorrow. Don't know anymore. I think they'll probably lose because they just seem to win-loss forever. A lot of movement in the last few days. Montreal, Ottawa's starting to get hot. Philadelphia's getting hot. Vancouver's very hot. Avalanche and Predators are both very good right now. Anaheim doing great. Calgary stopped because of COVID. Edmonton is playing horrible as they've lost 6 in a row. Rangers playing really well. And yeah, right now, that's pretty much all that there is to say about this. Hawks are slowly, they're about 4 points behind Dallas now, so maybe they'll catch them, get back into the race, as they're 4 points behind Dallas, 7 points behind Winnipeg, so if they can climb into about here on going the way they are, that would be, I feel this is a team that's built to make the playoffs, and the fact that they struggled so much in the season, it might have prevented that. Going 0-9-1-10 in your first 10 games is not recommended. Would not recommend it. And for future NHL GMs, coaches, players, don't go 0-9-1 in your first 10 games. You won't make the playoffs. But other than that, that's all I have for you guys today. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.